still underdogs at home, on the road, and all of these games. It's time for people to start understanding a legitimate team that has a chance not only to win the series against Cleveland, but also maybe even go all the way to the NBA Finals.
I think a lot of the focus has been on why the Cavs have not played particularly well. A lot of that is due to injury, of course, but I think that's taking too much credit away from what the Pacers have done.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Malaysia Fawali, who you guys know I am a huge fan, has decided to switch allegiances and stay in league. And now she's going to go play for Kim Mulkey. Her, Flau'jae Johnson in the backcourt. It's going to be interesting to watch. You wonder sometimes with roster construction, maybe too much is not too good.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Jason Tatum underwent surgery to repair a torn right Achilles tendon. That is obviously a season-ending injury, and you know that's long rehab. You're talking
that's a year.
That's a year.
I don't wish that on anybody. I don't. I hate that Achilles, knees and ankles. I don't like talking about them. I've said it a million times. But screw the Celtics.
Pharrell, coast to coast. Only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Where does the time go? It's pro baseball today. Say, wait, man, we got you for 2 hours. 1 hour is already down. The fun continues into hour number 2. It's Tom Vecchio. It's Donnie Wrightside. It's the place to be, as we said, every single Sunday morning. Sirius XM Channel 159, SportsGrid Network. So many platforms, so many ways to watch, learn, have fun, and hopefully cashing in some tickets. Which brings me up, Tom, to the ebbs and flows of a Major League Baseball season and the ebbs and flows of a handicapper. I couldn't pick my nose on Tuesday and Wednesday in Major League Baseball. Numbers were fantastic. Nobody hitting. And even those times, Tom, where it's like, you know what? There's 2 outs in a game. I have my final inning to try to get some runs here, and I just need a base knock. And diving catches and players getting thrown out happen to be relentlessly. So sticking with the numbers, Tom, we always like to say, because some people lose 2 or 3 straight days. Oh, got to change the numbers here that I look at here. If you understand what you're looking at, you will have the great wins and have the great losses, because yesterday worked out well for me. Bounce back Saturday here, fantastic performance. Enjoyed myself, looking to relay that over. But I'm telling you right now, there are times, no matter how good the handicapper are, you just can't buy a break. And Tuesday and Wednesday, that was for me this week.
Yeah, I got a good amount of that this week as well, as I talked about before. You know, I was kind of fading the Twins on this winning streak that has yet to come to fruition. I was on Stephen Kwan the other day as part of a hit parlay, and he goes out there, hitting the ball 100 plus miles per hour. Doesn't end up with a hit that day, and then that was Friday, and then yesterday he has a hit in his first at bat. So it's kind of one of those things. It was like, man, he was crushing at the plate, just didn't get it done. Yesterday I was on Gunnar Henderson for a hit, first at bat. 105 miles per hour off the bat, exit velo. It's a catch going up into the bottom of the ninth, I think it took. And then he has it like a doinker, 73 mile per hour off the bat, opposite field. That's what gets it a hit for him. But the 105 mile per hour off the bat doesn't. So the point being is, like, there's going to be ups and downs. No matter how good the handicap was for me on Stephen Kwan one day, he just didn't come through. And then it's baseball. He just happens to come through the next day.
It always happens. The ebbs and flows, they will be there. Your guy struggled yesterday. You know darn well he is going to get in his first at bat and hit a solo home run, and you didn't back him today. Beatty was one of those guys for me yesterday, which he came up with bases loaded situation, hit a fly ball to the wall in right field, and then he gets thrown out late in the day here with 1 out. You have 1 out in the top of the order coming up, and he looked like he was running with a piano yesterday and got toasted with a bad slide at the plate. It happens, but always with Major League Baseball, Tom, like the NFL, like you get beat on like a Monday Night Football game. Like, I got to wait till Thursday Thursday. I got to wait till next Sunday to get to play every single day. Full slate Major League Baseball. It's the best part about the sport here. Let's continue with the action here into hour number 2 and a 2:10 start here. That's St. Louis and Kansas City. Liberatore, the lefty, is going to be on the mound against Michael Wacha, the right-handed pitcher. We're roughly a pick-em, depending on where you're shopping at today. A total of 8 that opened up, Tom, still sitting at 8. St. Louis, Kansas City today. What do we got?
I'm looking at a matchup that, I got to say, does this fall in the lower half of matchups that I like today? Because I love the Royals offense. I love going to Bobby Witt for hits. I love, going with him, Vinny P, Garcia. You throw in a Jonathan India. You can look at an HRR for 3 of those. You could add Bobby Witt with a Corbin Carroll, Tani, get a little 2-hit parlay, as I've always done. I'm not sure this is one of the best matchups when it comes to offense. When I'm looking at Liberatore, I'm like, okay, he's good. He's solid. There's nothing that I love that he does, but he's also not getting beat too bad. And then when it comes to Michael Wacha, obviously a pitcher who's been in the league for many, many years, but he's not a big strikeout pitcher, so I don't look to him for strikeout props. He doesn't give up a ton of power. He's not giving up fly balls. He keeps the ball low. I'm not convinced on the Cardinals lineup. This matchup does not have things that I like. Seeing a sub 310 WOBA allowed by Michael Wacha is fantastic from his side. Seeing a sub 300 WOBA from Liberatore on the other side, he's doing great. So I could add Bobby Witt to a hit parlay, but there's nothing that jumps off the page like, hey, this is the spot we got to bet today.
I'll tell you, it's a shame of it, too, because you look at the 77-degree temperatures today in Kansas City, but boy, a double-digit wind blowing in from right field, about 14 to 15 miles an hour sustained. That always makes it tough. And you're right about Michael Wacha. His last 30 days, how about an 0.76 weighted on base percentage and a 265 weighted on base percentage against the year? So you look at that, it's like, boy, it's crazy. And he doesn't strike out a lot of guys. And even in the lineup today, nobody strikes out, it looks like, in that lineup against right-handed pitching over the past 30 days. Sort of a rebirth. Like, hey, that Cardinals lineup stinks. Not necessarily. They've actually been performing well. It's just a shame that we're getting a good pitcher in good form. And also, Liberatore, 7th out of 28 pitchers on the card over the past 30 days. Michael Wacha, for me, number 12. Not a great matchup, but if I do give a slight lean, it's probably towards the Cardinals' bats at this point. We'll see how that one plays out. But again, one of those where if it was 77 degrees, 15-mile-an-hour winds blowing out, 2 subpar pitchers, then we probably would be able to get down to and have some fun with this one here. We'll keep it moving and stay in the 2 o'clock Eastern hour, 2:10 p.m. Eastern. Next game up, 9:17, 9:18. That's Minnesota and Milwaukee. Matthews getting the start today, going up against Freddie Peralta. Peralta was about a minus 165 price point overnight, Tom. That's downshifted a bit. Minus 150s, minus 155s, even as low as minus 142. And how about the total? Open up at 8. There's now 7s showing in the marketplace right now.
Yeah, so hopefully the Twins lose today because I'm on the Brewers. I've been saying that for literally a week straight at this point, as I've alluded to many times on the show. But as you said, Zebby Matthews being called up from for the Twins from AAA. If we look back to last year versus lefties, there's some real power we could see from the lefties on the Brewers side of things. He allowed over a 300 ISO to left-handed hitters last year, only in 21 innings pitched, 102 batters faced, a 425 WOBA allowed, and a 464 xFIP, 3.43 home runs per 9 allowed. That is where we're going to get some things going from the Brewers lineup, a 44.9% fly ball rate, 42% hard contact rate. I think this is finally the game for the Twins to lose. Obviously, Freddie Peralta, he's been around for many years. I think there's some power, obviously, in the Twins' bats, but the strikeout rate that we do see from Freddie Peralta versus specifically righties up at 32%, I think can kind of quiet things down, combined with Buxton and Correa still being on the IL. This is the game for the Brewers to win.
By the way, you do take a look at Freddie Peralta there, needing that little bounce-back effort here. He's been hit great numbers over his last 112 batters he's faced, and also on the season itself. Last 30 days, ERA, 2.96, xFIP number 4.04. A couple guys with bright spots here for the Minnesota Twins over the past 30 days, going up against right-handed pitching. Trevor Larnach, a 304 ISO and a 420 weighted on base percentage. And how about Cody Clemens, the former Philadelphia Philly, doing some pretty good damage here, including yesterday, 276 ISO and a weighted on base percentage of 361. You look at Milwaukee on the opposite side going up against Zebby Matthews. We'll see what we get. Yelich in order, Bowers in order from the left-hand side, having good statistics against righties. But some of those guys really have to step up in that lineup, and we'll see if it does play out today. But again, for the people that don't understand, Tom, when you get a pitcher coming back into his first start of the season, is it sort of a grain of salt? You wait for it, or no, I see his numbers in AAA and I see what he did last year. I should be able to hammer that guy.
It depends. It depends on, I would say, it's like, what's the story you want to tell yourself? Like, are we trusting that the Twins just keep things rolling? The Brewers lineup are struggling and it's actually a real sign. Or are we going to say, like, listen, He didn't make the rotation for the Twins for a reason this year because he got crushed last year by lefties. Therefore, I'm on the Brewers today. So you have to tell yourself what it was like. Oh, am I going to look to strikeouts? Am I going to look to hits against, RBIs against, whatever it might be? You have to tell yourself what they can kind of stick with it because you can't middle and be like, maybe he could do this or could do that.
Yeah, it's interesting. We'll see how long this streak can go because if you're bringing up pitchers that are so subpar here, getting spot starts, two of your best players in the lineup are actually down there, and yet you are still coming into this game as a marked underdog at about, let's just say, a minus 120, plus 125, plus 130 price, and still able to come away with a victory. That certainly would be impressive at this point here. We're going to set the table for the next game that we're going to talk about in the next segment here. 9:21, 9:22, a 2:20 start from Chicago today. That is the Battle of Chicago. It's the White Sox taking on the Cubs. It's Cannon versus Ray. If we look at the weather conditions today, you see the total in that game and you say to yourself, well, that means low temperatures, 55, 56 degrees, double-digit winds blowing in from center field, and that gives us the 8s that are popping up in the marketplace. But Tom, by the way, Chicago Cubs, close to a $3 favorite in this game. Let's just start there with the price points here. A $3 favorite. My goodness, with Colin Ray?
Yeah, Colin Ray's been good. Like his ERA, we're going to set the table for this and move into that. Yeah. But his ERA this year is fantastic. His xFIP may have some concerning things. Again, a 2.48 ERA. His xFIP is up at 4.05. We can break some of that down. We could say Colin Ray is due for regression, which theoretically he is. But are the White Sox the team to push that past? I'm not sure.
I don't know, but we're going to talk about that Cubs lineup, and we just might spend 10 minutes on Pete Crow Armstrong. See, I played that out. My man's got a long name and a big-time bat, baby. Let's talk next.
Still underdogs at home, on the road, and all of these games. It's time for people to start understanding a legitimate team that has a chance not only to win the series against Cleveland, but also maybe even go all the way to the NBA Finals.
I think a lot of the focus has been on why the Cavs have not played particularly well. A lot of that is due to injury, of course, but I think that's taking too much credit away from what the Pacers have done.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Malaysia Fawali, who you guys know I am a huge fan, has decided to switch allegiances and stay in league. And now she's going to go play for Kim Mulkey. Her, Flau'jae Johnson in the backcourt. It's going to be interesting to watch. You wonder sometimes with roster construction, maybe too much is not too good.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Jason Tatum underwent surgery to repair a torn right Achilles tendon. That is obviously a season-ending injury, and you know that's long rehab. You're talking
that's a year.
That's a year.
I don't wish that on anybody. I don't. I hate that Achilles, knees and ankles. I don't like talking about them. I've said it a million times. But screw the Celtics.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Jonathan Cannon on the mound today. And over the past 30 days, Tom Vecchio, 31 2/3 innings pitched for Cannon, a 3.13 ERA, which is very good, but a 4.55 xFIP number. We told you, it's cooler conditions in Chicago. The wind is blowing in, but that lineup is hot, and it starts with PCA up top, Pete Crow Armstrong. His last 76 at bats against right-handed pitching, a 357 ISO, and a 437 weighted on base percentage, followed by Tucker, Suzuki, Bush, Kelly, and Swanson, all cracking right-handed pitching. Do we get runs today despite the atmosphere of cooler temperatures and winds blowing in Chicago?
Yeah, so this is the one thing I was going to ask you when you threw it to me. I was going to ask you, like, if we score runs, would you be surprised if the Cubs score 5-6 runs? Pick a number.
Nope.
No home runs, though, right? Because that's what we can realistically see. So when we look at the Cubs lineup, 7 hitters have ISOs at 200 or higher versus righties. Not really starting off with PCA up at the top of the lineup. He has a 291 this year versus ISO versus righties. Carson Kelly's up at 354, which is absolutely crazy. Now, Cannon is a pitcher that I think can do some things well, but he also struggles with a 14.6% strike rate. Not good. Walk rate only 7.3%. It is better than league average. 297 BABIP and a 507 xFIP. So this matchup is all about, can the Cubs put the ball in play for non-home runs, non-fly balls, give me single, double walk, and that's how they score some runs. White Sox, get out of here. Colin Ray's great. I don't have any interest in them.
It's pretty crazy, too, because, again, you look at that Chicago White Sox lineup, and outside of, like, Luis Roberts, like, most people don't know who those players are. Miguel Vargas, due to bat in the cleanup spot today, a 333 ISO and a 500 weighted on base percentage over 69 at bats against right-handed pitching, and then that's it. Like, everybody else in the lineup is basically just, fodder in this game for Colin Ray at this point. We'll see if it steps up. But again, price points do make some sense. This isn't a minus 110 price that you're picking here for the Chicago Cubs. You're expecting them to win and win easy today. And we'll see if those bats can certainly fire up again for Chicago, which it seems like for the most parts of the season, they have absolutely done that. But again, a close to $3 price and over $3 price, depending where you're shopping at, for the Chicago Cubs. Let's keep going. A 4:05 start today, 9:23, 9:24 on the rotation. That's the A's taking on the Giants. Battle of California out there. Springs, the lefty on the mound, versus Verlander, the righty, a favorite, which opened up overnight time, about a minus 130, minus 135 price. Money now pouring in on San Francisco as high as minus 155 in the marketplace, and a total that sits at 8.5. What used to be the Battle of the Bay Area is now a battle between San Francisco and Sacktown.
Yeah, I think this is the matchup that the Athletics come through with a win. And again, Verlander's a pitcher that we know how great he was, but he's not the same pitcher that he once was. And when we see the ERA and the xFIP matching essentially at a 4.31 ERA and a 4.44 xFIP, this is the pitcher that he is. He's not like due for some massive positive regression. He's not striking out hitters the same rate that he was. And yes, I like the Athletics lineup that we've talked about it. There's a little bit of wind blowing out, but again, this is a ballpark in San Francisco that was built to minimize the wind. So seeing 14-mile-per-hour wind and 60-degree temperatures, like, that's okay overall. We're not going to see a ton. It's more about Springs being, I'm going to say, decent enough to kind of quell the San Francisco lineup, which, again, has kind of slowed down after their super hot start. So when we're seeing, 47% fly ball rate, it's not great from Springs, but when we see a 28% hard contact rate allowed, that is absolutely fantastic. The strikeout rate's not super high. The walks are concerning with Springs, but I have my concerns with the Giants continuing their hot start.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, too, because you look at Springs, and over the past 30 days, which is interesting, 23 batters he's faced from the left-hand side, really gotten the best of them. A 222 ISO and a weighted on-base percentage of 487. Now, his power numbers, the righties, are a little bit low, but he doesn't strike out a lot of batters, which typically will get you in trouble. If we're looking at the card over the past 30 days for today for pitchers, again, 28 pitchers on the card, 27th is Jeffrey Springs' rating here, Tom, at a 4.10 ERA, but a 5.51 xFIP number. If we're looking from, who could do damage for San Francisco, Ramos out of the first hole here against lefties. He's been crushing left-handed pitching. Flores has been decent. Guy just had a 3-homer night just a few nights ago, which is incredible. Jung-Ho Lee, as a left-handed batter, does do well against left-handed pitching. So there's a lot. Willie Adames not so good. Luis Matos not so good, and so forth. It's always interesting with games in San Francisco. I wish this game was in Sacramento. Then we might be talking, because the 12-mile-an-hour winds, always the same exact thing in San Francisco, the way it plays out. But for me, the trust factor in Springs, not that high.
It's not that high, but here's the question. Do you trust Verlander? Like, are you thrilled to back Verlander? Are you going to lay minus 152 on Verlander?
No.
That's part of it. Like,
not happy with my guy Verlander either.
That's what I would say. I'll take the plus money with the Athletics. I'm not laying it with Verlander.
The A's, see if they can certainly bounce back at this point here. And we'll get to some action here later in the season where we'll get those 80 to 90 to 100-degree temperatures in Sacramento in that small ballpark. But now in San Francisco, we'll see how it turns out for Jeffrey Springs. Not a great pitcher, but a very good pitching environment, if you will. 903, 904 on the rotation. We're going down to Arizona. It's the Rockies and the Diamondbacks. Dollander going up against Kelly. That's a 4-10 start. And again, we see a $3 favorite appear in front of us. Yeah, opened up yesterday at $2.95. Now we're seeing 3.10s and 3.15s in the marketplace. But how about this? A 9.5 total last night, dropping to 9 at most outlets today. We're still expecting runs, and boy, did we get them yesterday.
Yeah, we got a ton of runs yesterday. The fact that we're seeing double digits from both teams is certainly fun. Listen, if you were on props, you were on an HRR, RBIs, whatever it might have been. Beck for the Rockies had 2 home runs, despite the fact that I dropped him from my fantasy team 2 days ago. Very disappointed in myself about that. That's not great. Merrill Kelly on one side, Dollander on the other side. Dollander had a no-hitter on Wednesday, going into the 6th inning versus the Rangers until he gave up a home run. But a 21% strikeout rate, 10% walk rate is not good from him. Merrill Kelly on their side, I think he'll keep things under control versus the Rockies. I expect runs from the Diamondbacks. They bounce back. We can get into more specifics as we are coming up against the break right now.
Oh, we will. 23 innings pitched over the past month here for Dollander, a 7.71 ERA and a 5.21 xFIP number. You take a look at the lineup on the season going up against right-handed Dollander. It's been very good here for the left-handed bats here for the Diamondbacks, but going up against – but Dollander's been terrible against lefties. A 262 ISO and a weighted on-base percentage of 387. But how about this? In the last 30 days, Tom, against right-handed batters, a 261 ISO and a 368 weighted on base percentage. Is this an equal opportunity for both lefties and righties to get down and score some runs? Tom's going to break it down a little bit more after the break. Colorado, Arizona, maybe we are getting more runs today. We'll be right back.
Still underdogs at home, on the road, and all of these games. It's time for people to start understanding a legitimate team that has a chance not only to win the series against Cleveland, but also maybe even go all the way to the NBA Finals.
I think a lot of the focus has been on why the Cavs have not played particularly well. A lot of that is due to injury, of course, but I think that's taking too much credit away from what the Pacers have done.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Malaysia Fawali, who you guys know I am a huge fan, has decided to switch allegiances and stay in league. And now she's going to go play for Kim Mulkey. Her, Flau'jae Johnson in the backcourt. It's going to be interesting to watch. You wonder sometimes with roster construction, maybe too much is not too good.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Jason Tatum underwent surgery to repair a torn right Achilles tendon. That is obviously a season-ending injury, and you know that's long rehab. You're talking
That's a year.
That's a year.
I don't wish that on anybody. I don't. I hate that Achilles, knees and ankles. I don't like talking about them. I've said it a million times. But screw the Celtics.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Let's double back here on this game between the Diamondbacks and the Colorado Rockies. It's Pro Baseball Today, Sunday morning, the place to be. You know the drill. Sirius XM Channel 159, Tom Vecchio and Donnie Rightside here. A lot of good-looking lineups here today across, and maybe the Arizona Diamondbacks, a really good one against Dollander here.
Yeah, looking at some of the numbers versus righties, we are looking at one of the best lineups we could possibly have. There are 9 different hitters with ISOs at 182 or higher. Corbin Carroll leading the way, 385. Eugenio Suarez, 354. Ketel Marte recently back, 333. Tim Tawa, 298. Pavin Smith, 224. Naylor at 212. That's just the hitters over 2. Then you add in Perdomo, who doesn't strike out, 196. Gurriel, who's turning things up, 192. There are so many great options. And there could be options on the Rockies side of things going up against Merrill Kelly. ISOs versus righties. Beck, as we just talked about, 284. Right, even Ryan McMahon, 206. You want to throw in Tolia at 185 and even Hunter Goodman at 177. There are options for offense in this game today. I think that the total is probably the best spot to go.
Yep, Tom's best bet of the show, minus 320, money line favorite here. Make sure you take them there, the Arizona Diamondbacks, cruising to an easy victory today. By the way, Merrill Kelly, because we talk so much about that hot lineup. Merrill Kelly's last month here, Tom, 30 innings pitched. How about a 240 ERA and a 299 xFIP number? If we break that down over 114 batters he's faced, a 143 ISO and a 254 weighted on base percentage. Merrill Kelly, the ace of the staff now in Arizona, feels like.
It certainly does. I mean, Burns is back and he's looking good, but Gallen got blasted last night. That's not what we want to see. But, man, Merrill Kelly's a pitcher I've never figured out. Those starts, that last postseason he had against the Phillies drove me crazy.
By the way, we're going to head into the danger zone coming up next year. The Battle of Los Angeles, the Angels and the Dodgers won last night by the Angels scoring a ton of runs. And Logan O'Hoppe, my goodness, I mean, this guy's going to have 150 RBIs this year. Every time I look around, the guy's knocking in runs. Today, though, another high favorite for the Dodgers, no surprise. 925, 926 on the rotation. A 410 start today from Chavez Ravine. Yusei Kikuchi, the left-handed pitcher on the mound for the Angels, going up against Tony Gonsolin. A minus 230 favorite overnight, still sitting around 240 to 230, depending on where you're shopping at. A total of 9 across the board. And when I look at that Dodgers lineup today as it presents itself against lefties, danger, Tom, is what I'm feeling.
Yeah, I think this is a clear bounce back spot for the Dodgers. Like, we saw them, I'm not going to say throw away these past few games, but this is what we talked about. Like, the Dodgers aren't going to win every game. When they're $2-3 favorites, they're still going to lose games. But the power that they have, I think can't be understated. Now, we do know that Teoscar Hernandez is on the IL. He technically does lead the team versus lefties, but even Kike Hernandez, 382, Will Smith. Will Smith does actually have some competition behind the plate now because they called up Dalton Rushing, their top catching prospect, and DFA'd Austin Barnes, their other backup catcher. But Will Smith, Ohtani, obviously, Freddie Freeman, even a 242 ISO. Pages, who has been crushing it recently, with a 191 ISO. I think we still get some runs in this. Gonsolin on the other side, we'll talk about him when we get to the pitching props, but I still think there's power on the Angels side to go against Gonsolin if you're interested in runs overall.
You take a look, too. Yusei Kikuchi over the past 30 days, only 24 and a third innings pitched here, but he has a 3.33 ERA, but a higher xFIP number of 4.53. But understand this. Here's what I want to ask you next. You look at the lineup, just the past 30 days of the Dodgers batters, going up against left-handed pitching. Ohtani, 385 ISO, Betts, 200. Will Smith, 500. Freddie Freeman, 350. Pages, 273. Edmund, 273. Kike Hernandez, 467. Rojas, 364. But if we look in the last 30 days for Yusei Kikuchi, a left-handed pitcher against lefties, how about a 0 ISO, Tom, and a 260 weighted on base percentage? Now, granted, it's only through 26 batters, but on the season, if you look at 41 left-handed batters that he's faced, how about a 0 ISO and a 242 weighted on base percentage? So some of those left-handed bats in the lineup, like Ohtani and Freddie Freeman, are raking against lefties, but this pitcher's been very good against lefties. How do you usually handle that situation?
So when it would come to teams like the Angels, I would say I'm willing to trust the hitters because let's get Kikuchi out of there and let's get to that bullpen, and then we're cooking. Yeah. Because you give me 3, 4, 5 at-bats with Ohtani or Freeman, like, Water will find his level. And I think you may not want to pick a specific prop, but that's like the HRR market. It's like, get on base, give me a walk, give me a sac fly with Mookie and Freddie and Will Smith in there, and then we're cooking because we don't need to have exactly the one thing from the lefties.
Like, I got a feeling like if I was going to attack this game, I love Ohtani, I love Freddie Freeman, like the just taking right-handed bats, like Mookie Betts in that lineup, Will Smith in that lineup, Andy Pages, like Tommy Edmonds will be a switch hitter, but he'll be batting from the right-hand side. That's probably going to be the attack point. By the way, on the other side, you got Tony Gonsolin. His last month, only 16 innings pitched on, but how about a 2.81 ERA and a 2.86 xFIP number, which is the best on the card with a minimum of at least 5 innings pitched over the past 30 days. That's how you do it, man. Dodgers, Angels. Can the Dodgers break through with a lot of runs today? We'll certainly find out. More Major League Baseball up next, right here on a Sunday.
Still underdogs at home, on the road, and all of these games. It's time for people to start understanding a legitimate team that has a chance not only to win the series against Cleveland, but also maybe even go all the way to the NBA Finals.
I think a lot of the focus has been on why the Cavs have not played particularly well. A lot of that is due to injury, of course, but I think that's taking too much credit away from what the Pacers have done.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Malaysia Fawali, who you guys know I am a huge fan, has decided to switch allegiances and stay in league. And now she's going to go play for Kim Mulkey. Her, Flau'jae Johnson in the backcourt. It's going to be interesting to watch. You wonder sometimes with roster construction, maybe too much is not too good.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Jason Tatum underwent surgery to repair a torn right Achilles tendon. That is obviously a season-ending injury, and that's long rehab. You're talking
That's a year.
That's a year.
I don't wish that on anybody. I don't. I hate that Achilles, knees and ankles. I don't like talking about them. I've said it a million times, but screw the Celtics.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Let's go, baby. A 4 o'clock start this afternoon. It's actually 4:10 Eastern, and that is Seattle and San Diego. We're going to have some fun with this game. It's going to be Woo King. We're expecting some pretty good pitchers on the mound. But before I get there, we are having a rivalry weekend. Now, last time I checked, Seattle and San Diego, not really the biggest rivalry. But, Tom, do you know what they're actually playing for in this series?
Some trophy that they made up to make this a rivalry is what I'm going to get. Well, I know that's what it is. I don't know what it's called because these are hilarious. The Battle of Ohio gets the Ohio Cup, which, again, is a fictitious thing. I don't know what this one's called.
The best part about this is because I think I'm assuming they play again later in the season, so it won't get decided like this weekend, I believe. But it's the Eddie Vedder Cup, singer of Pearl Jam. So you might say, okay, well, why would it be called the Eddie Vedder Cup? Well, they say that he lived in San Diego and he lived in Seattle. But at the same time, Tom Vecchio, he's a monster Cubs fan. So the Eddie Vedder Cup with two teams that he doesn't care about has a cup for those two teams because he lived in those two cities. And do you know the tiebreaker, if they end up splitting the series, what it comes down to?
Runs?
Nope. The best exit velocity of a swing. How about that?
Listen, they could come up with a name like West Coast something, like something involved because both like the Eddie. This is insane. This is insane work. We can get the Subway Series. We get that. We get the crosstown rivalry for the Beltway Series. We can get that. We can get there. The Eddie Vedder Cup is crazy.
Yes, it'd be like the Donnie Rightside Cup, and it'd be like, the Commanders and the Cowboys. Like, I don't have any interest in either of those two. Yeah, I know they're two football teams, but I'm an Eagles fan. Like, I'm a huge Cubs fan. Let me have a cup somewhere else. Like, should the Eddie Vedder Cup be like today, the White Sox and the Cubs, where he hands it out to the Cubs if they win, and so be it at that point? Just amazing where they come up with things to force the strategies through. But the Eddie Vedder Cup is in contention right now for Seattle and San Diego. Let's get to the game itself. Woo versus King on the mound. And this game opened up around a minus 140 price point overnight. Still right there. High is 145, high is 150, low is 138, and a total very San Diego-ish. 7.5 at the opening number, Tom. 7.5 right now.
Yeah, we have two awesome pitchers on the mound, and I would say they're somewhat similar, right? Where you're looking at them, we got strikeouts from both. They're not allowing a ton of power. We have WOBAs for both of them allowed, both sub 300. The xFIP is under control. Like, it's not perfect for Woo versus lefties specifically, where it's over 4.18 to be exact versus lefties is xFIP, but it's 294 versus righties. Brian Woo does not walk anyone, which is fantastic to see. Michael King is piling up the strikeouts. He has a sub 4 xFIP versus both lefties and righties, sub 10% strikeout rate. His strikeout versus lefties is pushing 29%. We have an actual awesome game. I'm not sure this is the best betting market we could possibly find. I am on the Padres today. I can convince myself up in the under, but the hitting really doesn't stand out to me today.
No, it doesn't. And again, a 4:10 start there. Maybe you're, 1 o'clock West Coast time, a little warmer temperatures in San Diego. That marine layer won't be there at night, but only 68 degrees at first pitch with a wind blowing out of around 9 miles per hour to right field here. There are good bats on both sides, as Tom pointed out, but also you take a look over the past 30 days, 28 pitchers rated today. Brian Woo comes in at 8th on the card with 31 2/3 innings pitching, a 2.84 ERA and a 3.53 xFIP number. Right behind him is Michael King, 10th on the card here at 28 innings pitched. And how about his ERA? 2.25 and an xFIP number of 3.65. Now, sometimes you would look and say, well, okay, I get it. You take a look at Brian Woo. Where does he usually pitch at? In Seattle. And Michael King, where does he pitch at? In San Diego. Well, they're both playing each other in San Diego, which is a great pitcher's ballpark. It's not as if he's going to Philadelphia or New York to play this one. So these two pitchers will be at home in this ballpark. And if I'm looking to pick a side in this one, it's probably down to, Tom, maybe I just take the actual plus money because I think it's that close of a handicap today.
See, that's the kind of situation I had with when we were talking about the Athletics and the Giants, where it's like, listen, I don't want to lay the money. I'd rather just take the plus money. This may be a little bit different because we actually do two really quality pitchers. I prefer San Diego. I just don't think teams are going to get swept at home, especially when they have like a pitcher that can break that losing streak. So I'm on the Padres, like I said. I think what were we talking about? Like a 4-2 final, maybe 3-1 finals. I think what we could be seeing.
That's what it factors into. Look at Michael King on the season, 201 batters he's faced. How about a 121 ISO and a weighted on base percentage of 256 against here? It's like crazy. And he's done very well over the past 30 days. You flip it over on the other side to Brian Woo, 197 batters he's faced, a 114 ISO and a 241 weighted on base percentage. Now, again, as we said, like there are two good lineups here that present against right-handed pitchers, but this is a true pitcher's ballpark with two really good right-handed pitchers in good form. Even though that number is so low at 7.5, it would take 8 runs to beat you, and I agree. 4-3 max, 4-2, 3-2, 3-1, something in that realm actually makes a lot of sense in this game. Nightcap tonight, Subway Series in New York, live from the Bronx. Once again, it'll be the Mets and the Yankees. Yesterday, coming away with a victory, were the New York Metropolitans, scoring late in that game and holding off with the 9th inning that was clean from their closer. Peterson versus Fried on the mound today. Two left-handed pitchers, a 7-10 start tonight. How about the favorite here? New York Yankees open up around that minus 160 price. Is high. It's minus 175 now in the marketplace. Peterson, Fried, Mets, Yanks tonight, Tom.
Yeah, well, let's hope the Yanks come away with a victory. I know, Donnie, you'll be rooting for that. You want to see the Mets lose, help the Phillies out. That's always good. But this is an awesome matchup to end things with. Obviously, Fried has been downright fantastic for the Yankees this season. And frankly, we always talk about like the puzzle pieces. Like, is there a pitcher that does this? Do we have a team that can kind of match, the thing that he does or struggles with? When it comes to the Mets, Jesse Winker in extremely limited plate appearances versus lefties. He has a 400 ISO in only 5 plate appearances. But Luis Torrens at 278, Pete Alonso 270, Brandon Nimmo at 256. And then is a massive drop-off all the way down to 143 ISO. There are 3 good hitters versus lefties in this lineup. Max Fried does not allow hard contact, does not allow home runs. That's what the Mets want to do. And then when it comes to David Peterson on the other side, I think he's a very solid pitcher overall. I don't think he'll allow the Yankees. He won't allow runners on base. He's not going to allow fly balls. It's at 22.5%. I see this as another low scoring game. We have two pitchers that have xFIPs under 4. I think we're in for another 3-1 game tonight.
It's a shame, too, because you got 67, 68 degrees in the Bronx with double-digit winds blowing out to that shore porch. And right, like it should make a lot of sense. But here's the other thing, too, because sometimes you take a look at the ERA and what the pitcher actually does on the field. Max Fried's last 30 days, 32 and 2/3 innings pitched, Tom, in 0.55 ERA. But his xFIP number is 3.80, which, again, is still really good, but it shows you that, okay, well, how does that translate to what he's supposed to do? And what if I would have told you that David Peterson is 4th on the card today with analytics coming in here and saying, all right, he's a 3.30 xFIP number, but his ERA is 3.25. Like, analytics are telling you the 0.55 is not as good as the 3.25. It's just the way they look at it. It's how many strikeouts you have, the fly balls that come into play, the underlying value of the pitcher. But it's crazy to see Max Fried with a 0.55 ERA coming into tonight. But I'm with you. I look at both sides of the lineup and say, there are some hitters that can do damage against lefties. Lindor, Soto, Alonso, Vientos, Nimmo, and Marte over the past month that have done well. But you're going up against a pitcher we just told you gives up a half-earned run a ball game over his last 30 innings. And then you flip it over to the New York Yankees. We know they have great batters here. But again, Peterson, going up against lefties, he's a complete shutdown against them. But right-handed bats in the lineup, Paul Goldschmidt, Volpe, they've done decently, but not a lot to build off of. For me, I'm with you as well. I'm looking more at under, and it's a shame because I get that wind blowing out. I want those balls to travel into the seats, and I don't know if we're going to get that tonight. I don't.
No, and this is one of the things about handicapping baseball on a daily basis. Yep. If there were just one extra day off and we had two different pitchers, we would be, every hitter in this game is the best we could look at with the fly ball rate, the wind blowing out. But the fact that we have two pitchers lined up that induce ground balls, it is basically not the spot that we want to look today. That's what's great about baseball. It's like one day on or off, and it changes everything.
No, certainly you're right. And also, you're taking a look at some of these, numbers here that are popping up. It's like, okay, well, Aaron Judge, 0 for yesterday at the plate. He's due to bounce back, but only had 5 at-bats against left-handed pitching over the past month, which is crazy. Usually have at least 20 or 25 of those. We'll see what happens in the Subway Series. Are you ready for picks? We got you covered next.
Still underdogs at home, on the road, and all of these games. It's time for people to start understanding a legitimate team that has a chance not only to win the series against Cleveland, but also maybe even go all the way to the NBA Finals.
I think a lot of the focus has been on why the Cavs have not played particularly well. A lot of that is due to injury, of course, but I think that's taking too much credit away from what the Pacers have done.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Malaysia Fawali, who you guys know I am a huge fan, has decided to switch allegiances and stay in league. And now she's going to go play for Kim Mulkey. Her, Flau'jae Johnson in the backcourt. It's going to be interesting to watch. You wonder sometimes with roster construction, maybe too much is not too good.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Jason Tatum underwent surgery to repair a torn right Achilles tendon. That is obviously a season-ending injury, and that's long rehab. You're talking
That's a year.
That's a year.
I don't wish that on anybody. I don't. I hate that Achilles, knees and ankles. I don't like talking about them. I've said it a million times, but screw the Celtics.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Oh, man, 2 hours is almost up. You got to be kidding me right now. Full Major League Baseball schedule. By the way, Tom and Donnie, what did we just do? Yeah, we capped every single one of those games. So we have a couple segments here to sort of recap, take a look at some of those advantages that we might have today with some fun bets and hopefully some winning bets as well. So the next segment here we got, Sell Me Something. If people don't know what that is, it means different things to many handicappers and many people. Tom's job right now is to sell you on something that he likes today and why you should be taking this, Tom. Away you go. Sell me.
Yeah, I'm going to sell you on the Atlanta Braves team total, which is 4.5. I want to sell you on 5.5 at plus 134. Brian Bayo's on the mound for the Red Sox today. And again, we look at Bayo, smaller sample size, 27 innings pitched, 2.33 ERA. You look at, okay, that's good. 4.65 xFIP, not good. 14% strikeout rate, terrible. 12% walk rate. Terrible. Wind blowing out at Fenway today. That's what we love to see. We look to the Braves lineup versus righties. Drake Baldwin, their young catching prospect, 258 ISO. Sean Murphy, depending on who's in the lineup, 239 ISO. He's the other catcher. Ozuna, 210 ISO. Eli White, who, Donnie, you mentioned before, 208 ISO. Matt Olson, 194. Riley, 163. Great hitting environment. A pitcher that is due for regression. I'm selling you on the Atlanta team total over 5.5 at plus 134.
There you go. Like to see it here. Let's get those extra runs. 6-pack gets you the top one. Hey, look, give me a running mate too, right, Tom? Give me Boston with a couple runs, 3-3, 4-3, 5-5, and then you get the extras, and you can certainly get the lid off of that. I'm going to have a fun Sell Me Something here with a marketplace that a lot of people don't take a look at. Depending where you're shopping at, you can bet, obviously, base hits. You can bet RBI. You can bet the HRR markets here. But also, did you know, guys, you can bet if a guy gets a single, a double, a triple, or even a home run. The doubles market is wild to me because typically when you're taking a look, and take a look today, it's Stowers at plus 520 to hit a home run. The reason I bring that up because I want to give you guys a background of what that looks like. Like, oh, that's crazy. When you get a double, it's half as good as a home run, so you probably would figure it would be like a plus 250 or plus 300 price. It's not. To hit a double today for Kyle Stowers is a 6-1 price. That's plus 600. You take a look at yesterday. What did he do, Tom Vecchio? Oh, that's right. He got a double. I take a look today against Shane Baz, who's been struggling with lefty and righty batters. Kyle Stowers, a lefty. He might strike out a lot against right-handed batters to the tune of about 33% over his past 73 at-bats. But look at the power numbers, Tom. 469 ISO, 484 weighted on base percentage. Stowers to get a double today, 6-1. It's a fun market. Yes, that should be easy. People don't get a ton of doubles. Like, you almost get probably the amount of same doubles that you do home runs for most power hitters at this point, but a 6-1 price, which is higher than actually the home run price. And where do they play, Tom? They play in Miami. Hit the ball off the wall, man. That's tough to get a home run as is. Give me the 6-1 price on a double. How do you feel about that prop?
I do like it because, like, we are talking about the same thing. It's like, okay, we have power. Yes. It may not be a home run because of the park factor, but he's making contact. He has the underlying metrics to back it up. So I really do like it.
All right, how about liking this? I'm a Philadelphia Phillies fan. I don't like this because we're going to get into pitching props. But before we get into pitching props, how about pitching suspensions? 80-game suspension. Jose Alvarado tested positive for testosterone. He's down 80 games, but the worst part about that is just get rested and ready for the playoffs. Ineligible, I should say, for the playoff run. The Phillies were already looking for bullpen help. Now really need bullpen help, Tom.
They do, and it's an interesting point to add that he's ineligible for the playoffs because I didn't see that in at least the little blurb that I read quickly during the break. But 80 games would bring him back. We're at, 50-ish now? He'd have 30 games left. They'll bring him back at the end of August or so. So he would, in theory, be ready for the postseason. But if he's ineligible, that is a massive difference.
I think that's a new thing in Major League Baseball where you can't because who tested positive for the Atlanta Braves, the signing they came over, it was a Jurickson Profar. He also cannot play in the playoffs as well, which I like that. Like, you can't be, hey, you know what, I cheated, I gassed up, and okay, well, I'll still be back for the playoffs. I'll lose some money.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now you're done. Now you're just going to get thrown in at September. As much as me being a Phillies fan doesn't like that, that's fair. You test positive, there should be extra penalties. Then just sit you down for 2.5 months and enjoy the rest of the season. No, you're out for the playoffs here. That's what happens to Phillies. Now we'll be hitting the markets here to see if they can find some bullpen help here. So let's get to the bullpen / starting pitchers, Tom. Give me a pitcher's prop that you're digging today for the people.
Yeah, let's go to the Dodgers in a bounce back spot. Tony Gonsolin over 5.5 strikeouts. That's sitting at plus 110. I saw that on DK. It was minus 106, I think, on FanDuel. So, of course, always shop for the best lines available. This will be his 4th start of the year, 77, 82, 84 pitches in his first 3 starts. That's what we like to see, obviously moving the pitch count up. He's got a 33% strikeout rate so far. It's only 3 starts, obviously. That is not where he was last year, the year before. Or actually, I shouldn't say he didn't pitch last year, but the year before that, he's a mid-20 strikeout rate pitcher. The Angels, though, a 26.9% strikeout rate versus righties, which is the worst in the league. I don't expect him to stay up at 33, but there's a matchup that can help him sustain it, at least in the short term.
I'm going to go here and say, you know what? I've been having some fun with these pitcher props, Tom. You've been hitting the overs. I've been pegging the unders here, and we'll see if it continues once again today. And I'm not going to wait long. First game on the docket right out of the gate. I'm going Jack Leiter under 4.5 strikeouts, which means he has to get to 5. It's at a minus 138 price, so it is a little bit juiced. But understand this. You take a look at Jack Leiter on the season, a 19% K rate. If you break that down to between lefties and righties, 17.5 and 20%. But then if you take a look, Tom, over the past, 30 days or so? How about a 15% K rate coming into this with a high walk rate of 15? I do think Houston has the ability to get some runs here. Knock this guy out in under 5 innings. I don't think he gets the 5 strikeouts. I'll hit him. By the way, last week, I think it was Majinski I had last week, like 3.5 strikeouts and took the under. That one hit. So for me, Tom, I'm going unders. You're going overs. Let's sweep the card today on some pitching props. How about that?
Yeah, we talked about Jack Leiter when it comes to his lack of strikeouts and the high walks. I know we're coming up against a break right now, but on the other side of this, we're going to talk about some home runs, and we're going to be talking about a hitter maybe going against Jack Leiter.
How about that? Tom's bombs coming up here. Donnie's dingers in the next segment here. We're going to go the big dogs of the day to see if they're barking, and we finally do have some nice dog prices that we can deal with as well as some extra props on the card. It's what we do. It's every single Sunday. It's 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. It's every single game handicap, the hottest topics, even the live topics like Jose Alvarado getting down for the Philadelphia Phillies, and who will be out for the postseason now and 80 games here. But more picks, more props, more fun on the way as we close it down in our final segment today for Pro Baseball Today right here on the SportsGrid Network.
Still underdogs at home, on the road, and all of these games. It's time for people to start understanding a legitimate team that has a chance not only to win the series against Cleveland, but also maybe even go all the way to the NBA Finals.
I think a lot of the focus has been on why the Cavs have not played particularly well. A lot of that is due to injury, of course, but I think that's taking too much credit away from what the Pacers have done.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Malaysia Fawali, who you guys know I am a huge fan, has decided to switch allegiances and stay in league. And now she's going to go play for Kim Mulkey. Her, Flau'jae Johnson in the backcourt. It's going to be interesting to watch. You wonder sometimes with roster construction, maybe too much is not too good.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Jason Tatum underwent surgery to repair a torn right Achilles tendon. That is obviously a season-ending injury, and you know that's long rehab. You're talking
That's a year.
That's a year.
I don't wish that on anybody. I don't. I hate that Achilles, knees and ankles. I don't like talking about them. I've said it a million times. But screw the Celtics.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We're coming up on lunch, whether people out there enjoying pizza, any which way, any which style, that's up to you. But also, we got to give the people out something they love, and that's home run props here. Tom's Bombs, a 3-pack that we can get down on today. What's it going to be?
Yeah, let's start off with James Wood for the Nationals up at plus 630. We're not talking about pizza. We're talking about homers going up against Zach Eflin, 184 ISO allowed to lefties, 51% fly ball rate. Wood is crushing righties with a 154 WRC plus, a 274 ISO, 39% hard contact rate. We got winds blowing a little bit out towards right field at Camden today. Love that. Isaac Paredes at plus 600 for the Astros. We just talked about Jack Leiter. 497 xFIP versus right-handed hitters, 47% fly ball rate, nearly 4% hard contact rate. Paredes is a righty. He actually crushes righties. He's terrible versus lefties, but he has a 181 ISO, 38% fly ball rate, and then rounded off with my guy Riley Green plus 450. He's crushing righties, going up against Jose Barrios. Pitcher we absolutely don't need to be worried about this year, allowing 1.29 home runs per 9 to lefties, 417 xFIP, and he comes in allowing a 16.7 home run to fly ball ratio. Just get the ball in the air, and I like what Riley Green has.
I like it, man. I like where you're going here. 630, 600, 450. And for the first couple weeks of the show, I was struggling with getting home run props down. Like, man, these numbers aren't working out. So last week, Tom, I picked 3 guys out. 2 of them get canceled, like before the starting lineups even come out. Like, that leaves me with Schwarber. Well, Schwarber went yard last week. Now we're ready for battle, baby. And if anything's for certain, Tom and I don't get together before the show and say, hey, look, who are you going for your home run props and which guys do you think are going to be hot? And you're going to see right now popping up James Wood, plus 630 price. He's going yard today. Wind blowing out to right field. Catch one today, baby. The numbers are there for him to absolutely detonate one. The second guy on my list, it's Dalton Varsho at a plus 450 price to go yard. Electric numbers with ISO power and weighted on base percentage. And the final guy for me, good old trusty Eugenio Suarez today going up against Chase Dollander. Dollander, his last 30 days, how about a 261 ISO and a weighted on base percentage of 368 going up against right-handed batters? How about Eugenio Suarez, his last 77 at-bats against right-handed pitching? 397 ISO, 456 weighted on base percentage. I know, Tom, that we are at least getting one of these guys a piece to go yard for that good plus money number, man. I'm feeling it. I am. I really am.
That's right. You take some of these big numbers, you don't need all 3 to come through. Like, we're not laying minus 125 on 3 different players for total bases. One of these comes through, we're looking good.
Catch one. Now, by the way, Wood, he's either hitting a home run today or striking out 5 times. There is no in-between when both me and Tom are getting down on this guy today. Big dogs of the weekend. Give me that stinger right now. Big dogs in the neighborhood, Tom. Where's your big dog coming from today? Let's go.
Yep. Let's go to the Athletics dog of the day. Was that a plus 124, plus 120 it is for the Athletics. Again, I like their lineup. Yes, it has struggled a little bit as of late, but Verlander is, again, not a pitcher that we need to be worried about overall when he has an xFIP at 4.44. The strikeouts aren't there for him. The contact rate that he's allowing is not good, along with a 293 BABIP. I think the Athletics have enough pieces. I'm not going to say run away with this game. They're not going to be blowing out the Giants 10-0, but get some runs across the board, and a plus 120 price is a good shot to take on a team not getting swept against a pitcher that we just do not want to be laying juice on.
And by the way, the dog that I have today, my big dog plus 150 price, actually better in the marketplace right now if you take it, and that is with the Washington Nationals. I think they're going to be able to hit Eflin here. Our guy, James Wood, should be able to hammer a baseball into the seats today, or maybe off of a warehouse in left field. We'll find out a little bit later, but that's my big dog today. By the way, Tom, any other props that you're taking a look at today that you want to give out to the people here?
Yeah, let's go with the usual hit parlay. Vladdy for the Blue Jays, Kyle Tucker from the Cubs up at plus 103. Just for the sake of bookkeeping, I am 5-2 this week on these hit parlays. Looking great. Plus 103 number. I saw it at plus 101 and minus 103. Shot for the best line available. Two great hitters. Both went 0 for yesterday. They're in bounce back spots.
And by the way, going with Vladdy Guerrero for me for another prop play, how about just the Toronto Blue Jays team total over 4.5 at a plus money price at 160 when it feeds into that? And by the way, Tom, just to your point real quick, the HR market is very overpriced right now. Like it seems like they're catching on. So I like where you're going with the hitter prop here because chances are you're betting on that doing damage, the underlying value himself, just getting a base knock. I like that. That's plus money. You put that in the HRR, it's probably minus 260 today on that end of it. And they're probably each going to get this hit. So I like where that's going here. And that'll do it for the show. 2 hours down, every handicap out there, home run props, dog props, everything you need to know, which includes maybe next week how to eat a slice of pizza correctly, boys. Hey! That'll do it for the show today. Tom Beck, right beside Safety behind on the wheels of steel. We're out of here. See you next week.